Welcome to the channel, everybody. My name is Ryan, and this is RimWorld. We are back here at the Toxic Waster Colony, and you know it's the Waster Colony because we got a social fight. That's right, we are starting today's episode off the right way with the social fight. Okay, at least they didn't kill each other. Man, I've been doing a little bit of playing offline just to, get ourselves a bunch of gene frames. As you can see, I've got a third one going, but there have been so many social fights while I've just been sitting here plugging away at these, gene frame. It's insane. I don't know what it is. It's got to be the waster, like genome or whatever, xenotype. They are insanely combative with each other. Maybe it's the fact that I've got so many psychopaths and bloodlusters. I don't know, or cannibals and stuff. But it is just hilarious. I've never had a colony with this constant level of social fighting. It's amazing. In fact, and I've mentioned my next playthrough, and I'm just briefly going to mention this too. I'm going to put on the social interaction bubbles. That's another mod that's been recommended to me by a Discord member for the next playthrough. So hopefully it'll bring a little bit more personality and stuff even during social fights. Hopefully we can minimize that a bit. But anyway, if you guys are interested in joining the Discord, there is a link down in the description. But we have a lot of fun there. It's a small, growing community, but nonetheless, let's stay focused here. So, of course, the ultimate goal now with our genetics, that's what we're really working on. That's the last step before we get ourselves into combat. As you can see here, we're growing them rapidly, but the next one we're going to design is going to be an alpha thrumbo. So it's called a Nighthrumbo right here. Boom. And it's pretty short description, but I mean it's deadly. These things. And what I'm also going to install is something called a controller, so that'll allow me to actually recruit the animal, move it around, and attack who I want to attack. So it's going to be pretty fun. In fact, we can already test that out. I'm not doing it yet, actually, real quick, because I'm waiting on a better gene frame here. I want the legendary. I've got an excellent one, but we need to get up to masterwork and then legendary. Because if I'm doing a Nighthrumbo that I'm going to be controlling myself, I want it to be, the most epic of all the animals on the battlefield. But speaking of animals that we can control, we do have a couple of wolf shrimp here, and I know wolf shrimp doesn't sound that badass, but these guys are pretty nasty, trust me. The shrimp that they're crossed with are the alpha animal shrimp, and they're like razor shrimp or something like that, I think is what they're normally called. But yeah, it's pretty nuts. Let's see here. If we go, we've got a second one open, so we can design. Let's see what we've got. Before we start designing, let's look at the types of genomes we have. The template is just for like duplicating some. We've got one. Boom, there's the colossal. That's reserved, like I said, for an alpha. So that'll leave us with one additional alpha. We could do another wolf shrimp. That might not be a bad one. Let's look at alpha reptile. Oh, you know what? I think I remember. Alpha reptile is not that impressive. It's like a meadow ave, but it's like a bird. I'll show you. Here, we'll go to alpha is always first whenever you're doing an alpha animal. Yeah, so it's a meadow lizard. Again, it's really, if you're playing with the mount, where you can mount animals and ride them, what's it called? Giddy up, the giddy up mod. If you're playing, yeah, it even says it right there, it needs giddy up. Because this thing is, other than that, it's just another animal that roams around. It's not that impressive. But if you do have, if you're going for mounts, that's probably the genetics to go for. But otherwise, it's not very combat oriented, which is what I want mainly. So I think I am going to do another alpha canine. So if we look alpha, and then we do our last canine, so that'll use those two up. I'm going to go ahead and pop on this excellent one. I've been trying to save it, but I'll show you with the list of what I've, like, kind of how I'm doing the genome, or the gene frames right now. I'm trying to get them to make a legendary as quickly as possible. But I'm going to install a controller there for the booster. And like I said, he's a wolf shrimp. He's a cross between, it's a terrifyingly alien creature. Yeah, like it's slithering, blinding. Yeah, it's pretty fast too. They're very fast, and of course, like they're equipped with these like razor arms is basically what they got. So let's go ahead and initiate synthesis. I'm going to grab good old Raider right here. I like to micromanage the genetics process on all levels, like when it's first getting installed, and then when it pops out the grow cell, you got to micromanage it. Or else they'll leave it on a shelf or in the stock room and it'll go bad after a while. So You got to be careful with this stuff. It's very valuable. But he's working on that. So you can see now we've got 3 of these tissue grinders, and we start with the offal. And you got to have 2 offals to make a pour, then 2 pours to make a normal, and so on, all the way up the chain to legendary. So I could probably do the math and figure out exactly how many offals I need to create a legendary. It's going to be a heck of a lot, I'll tell you that. But I haven't done that. I've just been setting different builds here. And you can see that this guy basically now is just making offals. Well, now this guy is mainly focused on pour here, and then I'm trying to get the rest of them from there on this one. So it's kind of a haphazard setup here. I could refine it down even further, but I don't care to do the math. So I'm just throwing a bunch of insects in the freezer and letting my pawns sort everything out. But nonetheless, we did initiate synthesis successfully over here. So we've got alpha K9 going, like I said, with the controller. That's going to be amazing. Having 3 or 4 of those on the battlefield is going to be great. And let's just take one quick look at the rest of the animals. We did have a boom squirrel recently be born. I wish my barn was bigger so it wasn't so crowded, but the boom squirrel is just it's what you think it is, a boom animal and a rodent type mixed together. And we went the boom squirrel because it says something about being able to detonate them manually. So I'm hoping we can do that even without the controller. I don't know how that'll work, but nonetheless, we've also got some boomaloop and bear crossing. So a bear loop. Now this thing is pretty sick. Look, you can detonate chem fuel right here. So there are options on this one to detonate. What about this guy? Now, the boom squirrel doesn't have those. Maybe it does mean that you need the controller to do it. Not sure, but, you know, I've only played with the genetics mod, 3 or 4 times, including this run here, so it's still fairly new to me. But if you are going to play with this one, I highly recommend go to the mod page in the community tab and read through it, because it does give you like the full instructions on what you need to do to even reach like the ultimate mech animal hybrid, which unfortunately we probably won't do this time around. That type of thing does involve going on the world map and hitting more of the abandoned labs, which we did once, and now some reason the last time I tried to caravan it's kind of bugged. So we're not caravanning. In fact, when we go assault the Empire, we're taking drop pods. As you can see, I've got us quite a few, 37 of them. Hey, check it out, guys. We haven't had many updates on the baby, but we do have a young child here, and they are in the growth pod, as you can see. The growth vat, I should say. What's the name? Just baby right now. Human male, age 2. This is the child of Ryan, our sanguiphage. There he is. He's working hard right there, cutting stone. So he is the sanguiphage, and of course he was married to, I think it's Vaz. She might be the mother. If I look at needs, it'll tell me. But my child is in a growth vat. Yep, that's what I was looking for. So she's the mother. But unfortunately, this baby didn't inherit too much great stuff from the parents here. If we go to the bio, it's just a baseliner with some random traits. Poor animals. It's very, very lackluster. I was hoping for something amazing, like some cool sanguiphage traits to carry over, but we didn't get it. So, I mean, it's not the end of the world. This baby probably won't make it with us to the assault anyway. It's going to happen much, much sooner. She might get, or he might get out of the growth vat, and we'll have to install some synthetic lungs so he doesn't catch the toxic cancer from all this waste we've got going on. In fact, let's take a quick peek. It's been a while. How much of this map is officially polluted? Let's find out. We need to go to the world map for that. Click our tile and look at the terrain. Let's see. No, I want to click the tile, not the actual settlement. There we go. So pollution is at 51%, moderate. We've only managed to get it up 51%. Well, if you'll notice, too, I'll turn this back on. I tried to actually avoid large parts of our base getting polluted, you know, because I didn't want any issues with the gardening. And some of the bedrooms have been separated out initially because we did have a couple people before I was able to get like bionics up real high, because now Furry's totally fine. She could probably sleep inside the pollution, not even bother her. But like I said, I tried to keep some parts of the base. Oh, look, it's even creeping over here in the barn. Yeah, I probably need to get that taken care of too. We've got an abundance of pumps, so I can move one of them over here. But nonetheless, you get a kind of a feel for just how polluted it's been. But it is pretty nice because our people, let's see, is Lady a Waster? Yeah, they get this just pollution stimulus, absolute maximum. It move speed 120%, consciousness. I mean, that's a huge bonus if you think about it. You know, in order to get that, you're like any other way, you're gonna have to start installing bionics and stuff. So, or temporary drugs maybe, but the pollution stimulus for wasters is pretty amazing, and it's not something I've mentioned enough. I think in this playthrough, it's probably helped in a very subtle, low-key way in a lot of our fights and stuff like that. Not just that, but production and whatnot. So it's cool. It's been a really fun little series with the wasters. I do like this xenotype quite a bit. It's one of the more unique ones, I think. I mean, they're all very unique, but I think I can make several more playthroughs just based around the different xenotypes that they've introduced with the newest DLC. In fact, if you're out there playing vanilla and you're wondering which DLCs to get, I would say go with Royalty and this one, Biotech, for sure. I've got them all installed, obviously, with the ideology, but ideology is probably the least important, I would say, quote unquote, if you want to put it in that way. I mean, it does help making more themed playthroughs, but it's not as necessary, and it can be a bit overwhelming too, I think, for newer players, some of the options they threw in that DLC. But the Biotech one is a true masterpiece. Oh boy, well, look at this. We were just talking about toxic buildup, and I didn't even consider our prison is totally saturated with it, and this was one of our blood bags. Yeah, so their spine had been shattered, so they were just here donating blood for a sanguiphage, which we've got a decent little supply of, and we still have one prisoner. Let's look at him then. Toxic buildup extreme. Whoopsie. Not a big deal. We'll just have to capture a couple more prisoners at some point. Or, I mean, unfortunately, there's none out here now, just a lot of rotting corpses, but we might not even have to worry about it with the sanguiphage. Let's check his blood levels. I do have his hemogen up pretty high, but that's okay. I mean, he's going to go with us into battle, so once we get ready, it's all hinging on the genetics. I'm not even joking. As soon as the Nighthrumbo is hatched and ready, we're going. It's a go time. So I'm going to push here through these genetics a lot more. Let's check we got one excellent one and a good one. So we're getting closer to a masterwork level, and then I need 2 masterworks to make a legendary, and we are in business. Okay, check it out. So I've actually got a bunch of marine armor on the way. This is, of course, in our ongoing effort to get everybody as geared up as possible. So I've ordered a bunch of our colonists. I'm just going down the line. So I'm starting with the very first person and giving them all marine armor. So we got Falcon over here. Falcon, did you put that on? Oh, okay. I think he's probably next. He's the next one. But we got Lottie here. She's getting changed. It's funny how long it takes them to get suited up in the armor. Of course, I am force equipping them, so it's a little bit annoying. Like, some of the earlier people might need to have their stuff repaired at some point. You can see she's wearing some legendary recon right there. That's Emma, colony leader. And let's see. Yeah, everybody's doing okay. I mean, there's a little bit of wear and tear on their stuff, but the problem is some of these guys, like, this is the reason I have to force them, is because we go down the line and we look at some of these dusters they're wearing, a legendary Devil Strand duster, so they just won't switch on their own. I know I could probably go into the assign tab and make like an outfit for soldiers and just switch them all to the soldier tab, but this way is a little bit quicker. I just force them because, I do anticipate this battle being the final one. So once it happens, they're all going to retire one way or another. But still, it's a lot of fun seeing them get suited up here. And like I said, some of them just won't switch out. They just won't release those legendary dusters they've got. But Princess is making them a pretty decent alternative here. Okay, there goes our latest monstrosity. We've got ourselves a 3rd wolf shrimp. So we're going to put him in the barn and then get him trained up here. We've got his training queued now. There's quite a few of them that still need to be trained, like the bear loops and stuff. But I have a feeling that once we get this legendary genoframe built up, which I'm working on. I've got one masterwork, so we're working towards our second, but I have a feeling this is going to take a little while, so it'll give us time to get everybody trained up, and this will probably, we've got one more here, the alpha and canine, so that's another wolf shrimp coming along. This will probably be the last one we do before we get to the Thrumbo Alpha, the Nighthrumbo. And you can see we're out here doing a bunch of hunting right now, too. I literally ran out of corpses. Don't just leave it, Falcon. Come on. I ran out of corpses to use for the genetics and stuff. So these are all rotten at this point. So we actually had to get out here and do a bunch of hunting for guinea pigs and cassowaries. But we've got it back in production. Like I said, we're getting close. Super close. And of course, when I'm ready to initiate the synthesis, I'll bring you guys on board just to show you the ultimate. It's actually not the ultimate mutation, but in terms of thrumbos, I think it is. So it's going to be exciting. So over here, you're going to see a little bit of, it's not so much an experiment, just a little project I'm working on. I got a bunch of steel meal racks here. What I'm going to do is get these all set up the same. So what I want to set, oops, I guess I need to link these after the fact, but I'm going to clear this and I'm going to go for packaged survival meals on this one, and we will copy this setting over, and then I'm going to go ahead and just use the hotkey J to paste all those. I'll link them once I get a second row in here. I probably won't need to, but I do plan on stuffing this full of packaged survival meals. And there's no real point other than just, I don't feel comfortable. You know, I was sitting here looking at my freezer. We've got so much meat in here, 6,800 human meat. I've got 6,500 insect meat. We've got lentils for days. 14th, and of course, if you're unfamiliar, the lentil is a meat substitute. So if you run out of like all meat, you can still make stew or pemmican with lentils. But nonetheless, we got so much food here that I was like uncomfortable. If this one room got destroyed somehow, that would be very, very devastating. So I've got ordered up a whole bunch of packaged survival meals, as you can see. And I think what I need to do, set this important. All right, yeah, we need to set these to critical. And that should do it. Gosh darn it. I'm going to have to go in and redo it. That's okay. So I'm going to copy and paste that all over again. That's why linking the shelves is such a great new feature. But anyway, I'll get that set up. Just wanted to show you that. It's kind of like the prepper in me right there that wants to have a setup of extra food just in case. I think it's a fun idea to do little things like that. I've even done in previous plays, not actually anything I've uploaded, but just for my own personal fun, is we'll set up like a treasure room where, you know, you put all the gold and steel, and not steel, but plasteel and things like that. Here in this playthrough, it's just sitting out. We've got 4,000 gold just in a pile next to some crude spears. But like I said, sometimes building little stuff like that, role-playing a little bit, is fun. But in terms of the food, I think there is a practical value to a room like this. Also, I've done this too, and I probably would be smart in doing it with some batteries as well. Because you can see I do have a whoops, yeah, that's right. I do have a backup of like 3 batteries here. Right now, with the amount of power we can produce, it's not necessary so much, but it is good to have a backup in case these get blown up or something, because they're kind of close to the front line, aren't they? I should make a little battery room down here, deep in the mountains, so we don't have to worry about if that gets destroyed. We got to hurry up and go without power for a time until new ones get replaced. So I'll work on that too. I might put it right here next to the storage area, so we can do that real quick. Doesn't have to be very big. I will double up the walls, even though I don't plan on doing anything necessarily with the temperature in here. Just again, it's good for like any major explosions or anything, which I'm not too worried about, but it's fun to play around. Okay, there it is, the legendary Gina frame. We're getting it worked on. It is just about done. Zachary is finishing it. Man, this is for the ultimate Thrumbo. I really hope that this does not turn into a genetic mutation or a failure. But anyway, let's get this thing initiated. Always start with the alpha and then colossal. There it is. Gina frame, legendary. Let's go. This is our first and last legendary animal. And of course, the controller. Gotta be. Initiate. Let's grab Zach right there. Come on, buddy. You're going to have the privilege of making the gene frame and initiating the synthesis. So let's go. Let's get this done, my friend. There's not much to it. It's just going to take a little bit of time. For you guys, it'll just be 1 second and it'll be ready. Okay, well, while we wait here, I know I said it would just be a second, and it will be for you guys. It won't be too long, but I've noticed that, oh man, these people like to eat the packaged survival meals. They're coming right out here to this place, and so I might want to forbid them. I'm not sure. It's just for fun anyway. Like I said, it's nice having an alternative source of food, or at least a spot where they can grab some. I prefer they eat in this room, though, ultimately, because they do get such a nice mood bonus from this place. This room is unbelievably impressive. I'm not sure if that's the max it can go. That's something I'm not quite sure of, but I might have to look that up at some point. But you can see we've got our backup batteries now all set up, so I can switch that off. You really don't need a whole lot, you know. I mean, the most likely use for this would be if we got like a solar power, or a solar storm or whatever, solar flare. That's what this is for. This is a mod, just installs a magnetic shield. But when this thing kicks on to like shield your colony, it draws tons of energy. So if we needed a little bit of extra, that would probably, we could just come down here and flick this switch. Like I said, that's probably the most likely use for a backup like this if you've got this particular mod installed. But otherwise, it's just there in case your main bank gets destroyed. Oh, check it out. We just got the notification. Baby has become a child. So let's go ahead and eject him. How do we, there it is. Cancel the growth vat. There he is. Little baby's up and running around. Nice haircut, buddy. Oh, I love it. The mohawk looks great. You grew that perfectly inside that growth vat. Turns out you don't need a haircut. Just hop in the growth vat for a couple of seasons, and it'll shape your hair to perfection. So he is still just the youngest of ages, obviously, and we don't have any growth events for him just yet. I wanted to pop him out, though, because it is helpful having the little guy around, and it won't make his parents as sad now that he's up and out there working and stuff. But he is fully functional, essentially, in terms of like what the limited stuff he can do. But he can fight and shoot, so I'm going to go ahead and equip him with an assault rifle and give him a nice backup sidearm. I made a whole bunch of sky metal backups. I don't know why, I just wanted to. Sky steel, that's what it's called. This is, I don't know what mod this comes from, to be honest. Oh, I probably need to look at the steel itself. Here it is. Alpha Animals. Okay. Interesting. So Alpha Animals is pretty extensive mod, and you can see it adds not just the metal or the animals, but a little bit of metal too. So let's read this. A weird iron-based compound found in fallen asteroids, stronger than normal steel, but a terrible insulator. So you don't want to build walls out of it, but it is stronger than normal steel. So that's kind of good for weapons, I think, which is cool. And it's a wonderful blue color. So I might switch a few of our people. These are just for sidearms, essentially. Everybody in the colony who's a ranged person, thanks to our simple sidearms mod, also gets to carry around a gladius with them. So I'll probably go through and see if anybody's got any, yeah, like normal ones like this. We'll have our guy drop that one, and we'll come over and get him a nice, flashy, excellent quality. There you go. That's quite a level up for him. Oh my god, we just caught the tail end of this fight here. They just had a social fight, Skunk and Vaz, but look at the reason real quick. Vaz loudly insulted Skunk's way of walking. Are you kidding? What's wrong with Skunk's way of walking? They look identical to me, don't they to you? Such silly reasons these guys get in fights for. But there it is. Okay, so now Hiroshi belittled Rat's father's eyes, and this drove Rat into rage. Now that is probably the worst reason I've ever seen to have a social fight right there. But it's happening. We got to monitor these very closely because they can turn fatal, especially if they fight for this long. It's what happens when they've got all kinds of good armor and stuff on them. Okay, they're fine, they're fine. We'll take a little bit of a quick update here. We're at 33% of our alpha G. Now, of course, once this thing is finished, that means we just get the growth cell, and it has to be implanted here. So we've still got a long wait, but don't worry, you guys don't have to sit through most of that. I'm just passing some time here, monitoring everything. If we get a raid or something pops up and interrupts us, well, I'll show you that too. too, don't worry. But this right here is our last animal aside from the Nighthrumbo. So we're well on our way, guys. It's happening. And there it is. We are now on the final stage. Well, once we insert it, let me grab somebody. We'll just take Zachary. He's a reliable guy. He's over here working. Let's insert that into a large electro womb. Definitely want to do that. I think it might mess it up if you don't insert it in the small or in the proper size, but I literally have never used any of these smaller ones. I go for the big one no matter what we're doing. Just be extra careful. I don't know if it really affects that much, but again, I should reread the mod page before I play with it. But nonetheless, it's here. It's inserted. It's impossible to see it because it's tiny. Usually you can see the little bean right there, but not at the moment. It does show that it's working, so we inserted that properly. That's good to go. I did go ahead and initiate another boom rodent just because I had the stuff laying around. And I was like, let's do it. But some other work I've been doing here in the meantime is getting these transport pods extended, so we've got even more of them now. And I was just thinking about the number of animals that we've got, because we really have been pumping them out pretty good. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 boom squirrels, and plus one more in the tank. 2 barrel loops, which are going to be amazing. Oh, we got 4 wolf shrimp. I can't wait to see these bad boys in action. And these are all controllable. I was thinking, I guess it's kind of redundant to train them, but not necessarily. It still might be a good idea to have them auto, like they can just do it on their own. But let's see, we've also got the 2 bear scarabs. Can't forget about these tanky boys. Those are definitely going in first after the initial wave of like boomaloops and barrel loops and stuff. The bear scarabs are going in next for sure. And of course, we can't forget about the Thrumbo loop. This thing is a Thrumbo Boomaloop hybrid, and when this thing gets exploded, it's like a nuclear bomb. I might drop this one in very first, like try and get it to drop right in the middle of their settlement and just let it off, like with the other ones too. So it's going to be a big explosion. It's been pretty good for us, though. It's producing a lot of chem fuel. For a while, I actually did have a surplus in chem fuel, about 1,300, but then like I said, I built about another 14 to 20 of these because I added some more on this end too. But nonetheless, it's all going pretty good. We've basically shut down the genetics production. Uh-oh, skunks on a fire starting spree. But what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to wait. It's going to take a while here. Progress is at 1.5%, basically. I'm going to wait till 100%, and as soon as this thing hatches, I will bring you guys right back. Okay, well, unfortunately, we're still only at 6%, but I wanted to show you the little guy. There he is. You can see him now, the little Nighthrumbo. Also, interestingly enough, after we had that fire starting spree, I got this notification, which I wanted to show you. So, Ryan the Sanguiphage has a weakness, and I didn't know this or realize this. I'm sure it probably says it here, but he is a pyrophobe. So, what's-her-face Skunk was out here setting fires out front while he was coming back and forth. You can see him grabbing stones. And whenever he saw the fire, he literally just dropped a stone and started running from it. So, that is apparently the weakness of the Sanguiphage is fire. That's super cool. I never noticed it, just in and amongst all the different traits they have, all the genes. But I like that. That's a nice little touch. Look at these eyes, guys. Check these out. These are the eyes of a predator that is going to take down a royal pawn. Let me tell you, I hope there's a royal pawn at the settlement, like a baron or something. That would be awesome. Take him out so you can see we're at 98%. I brought you guys back a little early because apparently we're having some good timing. The colonists are gathering for a marriage ceremony. That's right. Ryan and Vaz are getting married. Their child baby is walking around. Didn't even bother to name the kid, but he's up. He's got a mohawk. You know what? There it is. I just figured out his name right there. His name is now Mohawk. Let's go. There he is. So he's the newest child of the colony. But nice little wedding ceremony here. And hopefully while we're waiting, the animal will come out. Let's take a quick look at the rest of our animals. You can see we've got quite a few. A couple of them aren't quite trained yet. I think it'll be okay with the wolf shrimp because I plan on just, recruiting these manually. And of course, the boom squirrels are just getting dropped right in there, and they'll get attacked no matter what's going on with them. But here we go. Beautiful little ceremony. Everybody's in perfect colors, as you can see. I've been taking the time waiting for that Drumbo to... No! Oh, no. You got to be kidding me. Where is it? We had a failure. Flesh has become We had our first and only failure. We can't see it because it's not part of the team. Oh my God, what a terrible, terrible event. Oh my God, hold on, I got an idea. Well, everybody's gathered at the ceremony. I don't want to interrupt it here. Oh my gosh. So this means that our Thrumbo Colossal Hybrid, or I should say our Alpha Colossal Hybrid, the Nighthrumbo, is no longer viable. Oh my God, that's terrible. So it's a monstrosity that we're going to have to kill. And the Agrahand just opened it up, so here it is. Dude, and it got out. And it just got out, and it's attacking... What? What's it attacking? The Agrahands? Look at Hiroshi. Hold on, Hirosh. It's time to take it down, buddy. All right, we got to take this thing out. Let's hit it with a blinding pulse. No, that's not going to work. Let's shoot it. Come on, Hirosh. Oh, is it... I think... There we go. I think the pods are in his way. Man, oh man, this is going to be crazy. Okay, yeah, watch yourselves there, guys. Ryan, the newlywed, jeez. I guess it's just a little warm-up here before the fight. Hiroshi, get over here now. Oh, we dropped it. Okay, wow. Well, that was quite a disappointment. Unfortunately, I waited for a long time for this thing to be born, but nonetheless, I don't think that one animal will make the difference. Actually, it might have, since it was a legendary Nighthrumbo, but I don't know. There's nothing we can do about it. I don't have any more Thrumbo genes. We're not going to make the trip for it, unfortunately. I hate to end on a failure, but today's episode will conclude now. I think at this point, tomorrow's episode, we are going to begin by loading up the launch pods once we get them repaired after that little incident. So we are going to launch, and just a final reminder right here, into the Fallen Empire settlement and attack them outright. It's time to turn the tables and raid the raiders, guys. So I appreciate everybody who has tuned in to this point. You guys are the best. I hope you'll hit that like button for me. Tune in tomorrow for the conclusion of this Toxic Waster series, guys, and I will see you on the next one.